When my nephew Derek stood in my hospital room with a satisfied smirk and told me, "Don't worry, Aunt Eleanor, we'll take care of everything while you're recovering," he had no idea that this supposedly frail 70-year-old woman recovering from pneumonia was actually Dr. Eleanor Katherine Blackwood, former Chief Financial Officer of Meridian Holdings and founding partner of Blackwood Estate Management, the premier wealth preservation firm that had protected high-net-worth families for 3 decades, and that I was about to use 40 years of financial industry expertise and systematic estate planning authority to. Before I tell you how a woman who spent 4 decades mastering estate law and wealth protection used comprehensive financial authority and systematic legal connections to execute the most perfectly timed inheritance reversal that anyone in our county's legal history had ever witnessed, tell me in the comments if you've ever discovered that family members were planning to exploit your vulnerability for their own financial gain. And if this story of calculated estate justice resonates with you, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because tomorrow I have another incredible story about why you should never assume that a quiet elderly woman in a hospital. My name is Eleanor Blackwood, I'm 70 years old, and I'm about to tell you how my manipulative, money-hungry nephew Derek, who had spent the last 6 months systematically positioning himself as my devoted caretaker while secretly cataloging my valuables and coordinating with his siblings to liquidate my estate before I was even gone, made the catastrophic mistake of underestimating someone who had spent her entire career learning how to protect family wealth from exactly the kind of predatory relatives who mistake temporary illness for permanent helplessness. The moment that would change everything happened on a gray Wednesday morning in October 2024, when I was lying in Riverside General Hospital recovering from severe pneumonia, weak and seemingly vulnerable, while Derek stood at my bedside with a clipboard and what he thought was a foolproof plan to convince me to sign over power of attorney, just temporarily, for your own protection, Aunt Eleanor. Quote, "What Derek didn't know, what he couldn't possibly have comprehended despite 6 months of calculated caregiving and strategic manipulation, was that the frail-looking elderly woman he was addressing through oxygen tubes was actually Eleanor Katherine Blackwood, J.D., CPA, founding senior partner of Blackwood Estate Management, the most influential wealth protection firm in 3 counties, holder of comprehensive legal authority over trust management and inheritance planning throughout the regional financial market, and most importantly for Derek's immediate future. To understand how Derek's inheritance scheme would ultimately trigger the most comprehensive estate reversal in Blackwood family history, you need to understand exactly how my professional expertise had been systematically developed over 4 decades of protecting family wealth from exactly the kind of predatory behavior that Derek and his siblings had been planning, and how the seemingly modest lifestyle I had maintained in my retirement years had been strategically designed to conceal the very financial authority and legal connections that would soon eliminate their access to resources they had never actually earned. But first, let me tell you about the foundation that made Derek's defeat not just possible, but absolutely inevitable, from the moment he decided to challenge someone whose professional expertise had been specifically designed to handle exactly this type of systematic threat to family wealth and estate security. The Blackwood family influence in estate planning and wealth management hadn't been built overnight or through inherited privilege. It had been systematically developed through 2 generations of careful legal practice, strategic financial partnerships, and most importantly, unwavering commitment to protecting legitimate family interests from exactly the kind of exploitation and manipulation that Derek represented. My father, William Blackwood, had established the family's financial foundation through systematic estate planning practice during the economic expansion period of the 1970s and 1980s in the Hartford metropolitan area. His approach had been characterized by conservative wealth management, long-term strategic planning, and absolute commitment to building client relationships that would provide security and protection for legitimate heirs, rather than enabling the kind of predatory behavior that could destroy family wealth across generations. William had started with a modest accounting practice called Blackwood & Associates in downtown Hartford, a small firm that focused on estate planning and comprehensive wealth protection for middle-class families who understood the importance of protecting their assets from exactly the kind of manipulation and exploitation that wealthy families often faced from opportunistic relatives and strategic predators. But what made his approach particularly successful was his systematic development of relationships with trust managers, estate attorneys, and wealth preservation specialists who appreciated his ethical practices and comprehensive protection strategies that provided mutual benefit and long-term client security rather than short-term profit maximization that might compromise family wealth preservation and inheritance protection. The early practice success had provided foundation for expanding into comprehensive estate management services during the late 1980s, When Hartford's growing affluent community created increasing demand for sophisticated wealth protection and systematic estate planning that required both legal expertise and financial coordination capabilities that could handle everything from simple inheritance planning to elaborate multi-generational trust structures, William had recognized that comprehensive estate management represented a significantly more profitable and influential practice model than traditional accounting services, because successful wealth protection required extensive professional relationships and legal coordination that created natural barriers to competition while providing opportunities for premium pricing and exclusive client relationships that enhanced both revenue and professional reputation throughout the regional financial industry. During the 1980s, William had systematically expanded Blackwood and Associates through strategic partnerships with established law firms, financial institutions, and trust management companies that provided consistent client referrals and collaborative planning opportunities that enhanced service capabilities while maintaining the personalized attention and quality control that distinguished premium estate management from larger, less sophisticated financial service companies. The practice expansion had been carefully managed to preserve the family values and relationship-focused approach that characterized successful estate planning operations, ensuring that growth never compromised service quality or professional relationships that provided competitive advantages and client loyalty throughout the increasingly sophisticated wealth management market that served Hartford's affluent professional and business communities. But perhaps most importantly, William had established systematic approaches to threat detection and family protection that created comprehensive operational frameworks for identifying and neutralizing exactly the kind of predatory behavior that Derek would eventually attempt, including detailed protocols for recognizing manipulation patterns and implementing immediate protective measures that could preserve family wealth from systematic exploitation. When I had graduated from Yale Law School in 1978 with a JD in estate planning and completed my CPA certification with specialized training in wealth management and financial protection, William had immediately recognized opportunities for systematic practice development and professional relationship expansion that could enhance family influence throughout the regional financial industry while providing me with meaningful career development and leadership responsibilities that utilized my legal education and natural abilities in My role in expanding Blackwood and Associates hadn't been traditional family business involvement or simple administrative support. It had been specialized expertise in developing sophisticated client protection protocols, implementing advanced threat detection technologies, and creating systematic approaches to estate planning that could handle increasingly complex wealth preservation challenges and predatory threat scenarios that required professional expertise and attention to legal detail that exceeded what most firms could provide. During my first decade with Blackwood and Associates, I had been responsible for developing comprehensive protection protocols and threat assessment systems that enabled the firm to handle high-profile estate planning and exclusive wealth management that required discretion, sophistication, and flawless legal execution that could protect client interests while maintaining professional reputation throughout Hartford's most influential financial circles and estate planning networks. The advanced protection capabilities that I had implemented included specialized threat detection for predatory relatives and systematic exploitation attempts, sophisticated trust structures that created maximum protection against manipulation and unauthorized access, and comprehensive legal coordination that managed everything from initial wealth assessment to final estate distribution that eliminated client vulnerability while ensuring every detail reflected their protection objectives and family security requirements. But what made my contributions particularly valuable was the systematic development of professional partnerships and legal relationships that created exclusive access to premium trust services, specialized legal protection mechanisms, and expert financial personnel who could execute elaborate wealth protection strategies with precision and professionalism that distinguished Blackwood and Associates from competitors who lacked comparable resources and relationship networks. The premium professional relationships that I had cultivated included exclusive partnerships with trust specialists who provided unique protection mechanisms and estate structures that couldn't be obtained through standard commercial services, creating competitive advantages and protection capabilities that enhanced client satisfaction while justifying premium pricing that reflected superior quality and exclusive access to exceptional legal protection and financial security services. During the 1990s, as Hartford's economic development attracted increasingly wealthy residents and sophisticated businesses that required high-end estate planning services, I had systematically expanded Blackwood and Associates' capabilities through strategic acquisitions and partnership development that created comprehensive wealth protection services rather than simple estate planning and document preparation that characterized less sophisticated legal operations. The service expansion had included professional threat assessment and family protection services, comprehensive legal coordination for complex inheritance structures and specialty protection requirements, and systematic relationship development with premium financial institutions, and exclusive trust management companies that provided clients with access to wealth protection and estate security that enhanced their family preservation while demonstrating sophisticated legal expertise and financial capability throughout Hartford's competitive estate planning environment. The comprehensive estate planning capabilities that emerged from systematic legal practice development created opportunities for managing some of the region's most prestigious wealth protection arrangements and family estate planning, including annual portfolio management for Hartford's most prominent family dynasties, exclusive inheritance planning for influential business families, and comprehensive wealth protection coordination for major estate holders that required sophisticated legal representation and flawless execution that reflected professional competence and financial sophistication. But perhaps most importantly, the systematic practice expansion had created extensive professional networks and industry relationships that provided comprehensive influence throughout Hartford's estate planning industry, including partnerships with virtually every premium trust company, exclusive relationships with specialty legal protection providers, and professional connections with wealth assessment specialists and financial service providers who recognized Blackwood and Associates as the region's premier estate planning and family protection organization. By the early 2000s, Blackwood and Associates had evolved into Blackwood Estate Management, a comprehensive wealth protection and estate planning company that managed over 300 high-end estate arrangements annually while maintaining exclusive relationships with Hartford's most prestigious financial institutions and influential family dynasties, who relied on our legal services for their most important wealth preservation and inheritance protection decisions. The business transformation had required sophisticated organizational development and systematic quality control that could maintain personalized legal service standards while managing increased complexity and client volume that characterized premium estate planning operations, serving multiple client categories with different protection requirements and expectations for service delivery and wealth preservation quality. My leadership role had evolved to encompass comprehensive practice management and strategic development that included estate planning strategy, trust relationship coordination, threat assessment management, and systematic client relationship development that ensured consistent legal excellence while expanding market presence and professional reputation throughout the regional estate planning industry. The comprehensive practice management responsibilities had required advanced education and professional development that included specialized training in estate law and wealth protection, financial analysis and strategic planning, and sophisticated client relationship management techniques that could maintain client loyalty while expanding service capabilities and market influence throughout increasingly competitive estate planning environments. During my tenure as senior partner and managing attorney of Blackwood Estate Management, I had completed advanced certification programs through the American Bar Association Estate Planning Division, participated in wealth management industry leadership development programs, and maintained professional memberships in exclusive legal trade organizations that provided access to industry innovations and best practices that enhanced legal service capabilities while maintaining competitive advantages throughout the regional market. The professional development and industry involvement had also provided systematic networking opportunities with estate planning leaders throughout the region and beyond, creating professional relationships and resource access that enhanced Blackwood Estate Management's capabilities, while providing personal recognition and industry influence that reflected decades of successful legal practice development and service excellence. But what made the professional relationships particularly powerful was their emphasis on mutual respect and collaborative problem-solving that created comprehensive support networks for managing complex estate arrangements and challenging threat situations that required immediate coordination and expert assistance from trusted partners who understood premium legal service standards and family protection requirements. The professional network that I had developed included exclusive relationships with trust specialists and financial institutions who provided unique protection mechanisms and estate structures that created distinctive planning capabilities, premium legal coordinators who reserved preferred processing and arrangements for Blackwood Estate Management clients, and expert financial personnel who understood sophisticated estate planning standards and family protection requirements that distinguished high-end wealth preservation from ordinary inheritance planning. The professional partnerships had been carefully developed through systematic relationship building and consistent legal practices that demonstrated reliability, professionalism, and mutual benefit, that created long-term loyalty and preferential treatment that provided competitive advantages while maintaining service quality and client satisfaction standards that enhanced professional reputation and business development opportunities. Marcus Sterling, the senior trust coordinator and financial specialist for Blackwood Estate Management, had been recruited from a prestigious regional bank and had developed specialized expertise in creating elaborate trust arrangements and sophisticated protection structures that could accommodate diverse family requirements while maintaining legal compliance and protection standards that impressed clients and their financial advisors throughout exclusive estate planning and wealth preservation projects. Eleanor's systematic approach to professional relationships and quality control creates opportunities for financial innovation and protection excellence that would be impossible without the professional networks and resource access that she's developed throughout her career. Marcus had explained during industry interviews about premium estate planning operations and service excellence standards. The combination of exclusive protection access and sophisticated client relationships allows us to create unique estate arrangements that reflect each family's vision while exceeding their expectations for legal quality and wealth preservation coordination. The financial capabilities that had emerged from systematic professional development and relationship management included access to specialty protection from exclusive trust providers, custom estate development that reflected individual family preferences and legal requirements, and sophisticated coordination techniques that created comprehensive and legally secure wealth transfers while maintaining exceptional service quality and protection standards. Patricia Romano, the estate coordination director who managed comprehensive logistics and client relationship development for Blackwood Estate Management, had been trained in advanced estate planning techniques and systematic quality control that could coordinate complex wealth protection arrangements while maintaining personalized attention and service standards that distinguished premium legal operations from standard estate planning practices. The systematic approach to estate coordination and professional relationship management that Eleanor has developed allows us to manage multiple complex estate arrangements simultaneously while maintaining the personalized service and attention to legal detail that clients expect from premium estate planning operations. Patricia had noted during professional development conferences about legal industry excellence and client relationship management. The comprehensive professional relationships and quality control systems create capabilities for handling virtually any estate planning requirement while ensuring consistent service delivery and client satisfaction. The estate coordination capabilities that had been systematically developed included comprehensive trust coordination and protection services, specialized legal documentation and wealth preservation coordination, estate planning assistance and contract management support, and detailed timeline coordination that ensured smooth estate transitions while maintaining flexibility for last-minute adjustments and family preferences. David Chen, the legal research director and contract management specialist who handled legal documentation and professional relationship management for Blackwood Estate Management, had developed sophisticated understanding of estate law and wealth protection strategies that maximized legal security while maintaining competitive positioning and client value that supported long-term business relationships and market expansion throughout the regional estate planning industry. Eleanor's strategic approach to legal practice development and professional relationship management has created sustainable competitive advantages that enable Blackwood Estate Management to maintain premium pricing while providing exceptional value and service quality that justifies client investment in sophisticated estate planning representation. David had explained during legal industry analysis and strategic planning consultations. The comprehensive professional partnerships and exclusive resource access create service capabilities that competitors cannot replicate without similar relationship development and industry experience. Quote, "The legal management and practice development strategies that had been implemented included sophisticated pricing models that reflected service complexity and resource requirements, comprehensive contract terms that protected legal interests while ensuring client satisfaction, and systematic profit optimization that enabled reinvestment in service capabilities and professional development that enhanced competitive positioning throughout the regional estate planning market." By 2015, when I had transitioned to senior partner while maintaining active involvement in strategic planning and major client relationships, Blackwood Estate Management had achieved recognition as the region's premier estate planning firm managing over 400 high-end wealth protection arrangements annually, while maintaining exclusive relationships with Hartford's most prestigious financial institutions and influential family dynasties, who relied on our legal services for their most important estate planning and wealth preservation decisions. The legal practice success had created substantial personal wealth and professional recognition that included industry awards and leadership positions in legal trade organizations, but more importantly, it had established comprehensive influence throughout Hartford's estate planning industry that provided systematic capability for supporting family members and protecting family interests through professional relationships and legal coordination that could enhance or eliminate inheritance arrangements based on family relationship dynamics and respect for established values and legitimate family hierarchy. The transition to senior advisory role had been designed to provide ongoing involvement in strategic decision-making and major client relationships, while allowing younger legal professionals to assume operational responsibilities and daily case management that required energy and attention to detail that could be better provided by individuals who were building their legal careers, rather than transitioning toward retirement planning and family relationship priorities. But what made the advisory role particularly powerful was the systematic maintenance of professional relationships and legal industry influence that continued to provide immediate access to estate planning resources and wealth protection coordination capabilities that could be activated when family situations required intervention or protective action that demonstrated the ongoing influence and professional capability that characterized decades of successful legal practice development and industry leadership. The modest retirement lifestyle that I had maintained during my later career years had been strategically designed to encourage exactly the kind of overconfident inheritance-grabbing behavior that would eventually provide clear justification for systematic legal consequences and permanent exclusion from family wealth that required demonstration of character and family loyalty, rather than simple blood relationships that could be exploited for financial advantage and inheritance access. Every aspect of my public presentation had been carefully chosen to reinforce assumptions about retirement limitations and minimal continuing influence over legal operations and professional relationships, while concealing the comprehensive legal authority and systematic estate control that continued to operate through Blackwood Estate Management partnership structure and industry relationship management that protected family wealth from exactly the kind of systematic exploitation that Derek represented. My daily routine during semi-retirement had been deliberately structured to create the impression of a typical elderly woman whose activities were limited to traditional grandmother pursuits and community involvement that suggested minimal continuing relevance to contemporary legal practice and professional decision-making that might affect major estate arrangements and wealth coordination for younger generations who might be building their own financial portfolios and lifestyle priorities. The morning routine that neighbors and casual observers witnessed appeared to represent exactly the kind of simple retirement lifestyle that most people associated with elderly women who had gracefully stepped back from professional responsibilities and legal authority. Awakening at 7 each morning to read the local newspaper over coffee, tending to a modest flower garden behind my comfortable but unpretentious colonial house on Elm Street, and spending afternoons participating in community volunteer activities that reinforced assumptions about limited resources and traditional elderly social involvement. My residential choices had been particularly effective for strategic misdirection because the comfortable but modest two-story colonial that I had chosen for semi-retirement appeared to represent exactly the kind of scaling down and lifestyle simplification that most people expected from elderly women who are managing limited retirement income and gradually reducing their involvement in complex legal practice and professional activities that required sophisticated thinking and strategic capability. The house itself was well-maintained and appropriately decorated, but deliberately modest in ways that discouraged assumptions about substantial continuing wealth or ongoing involvement in high-level legal practice and strategic planning activities that might suggest systematic access to significant resources and professional authority that could affect major estate arrangement decisions and legal coordination arrangements. But what visitors to my Elm Street colonial couldn't see was the sophisticated home office that occupied the converted study, where I maintained comprehensive filing systems for legal relationship management, professional-grade communication equipment for consulting with trust partners and estate planning specialists, and computer systems with specialized software for monitoring Blackwood Estate Management performance and analyzing estate planning industry arrangements that required ongoing oversight and strategic management. The office included secure storage for sensitive legal documents and professional contracts, professional-grade recording equipment for documenting important conversations and legal consultations, and communication systems that provided immediate access to legal personnel, trust specialists, and estate planning coordinators, who could provide expert analysis and strategic guidance for complex estate situations that required professional coordination and systematic response. The legal management workspace also included multiple computer systems with secure connections to estate planning networks, trust monitoring services, and professional databases that provided real-time access to contract information, wealth coordination details, and legal resources that enabled comprehensive oversight of family estate arrangements and immediate response to emerging situations or unauthorized activities that might compromise planning quality or family wealth security. But perhaps most importantly, the home office included comprehensive communication systems that could provide immediate contact with legal managers, trust coordinators, and estate specialists who could implement emergency legal modifications and systematic wealth protection adjustments within hours of documented problems or contract violations that required immediate protective intervention and comprehensive inheritance termination to prevent successful exploitation and manipulation. The quiet retirement colonial that had lulled Derek into assumptions about powerlessness and legal irrelevance was about to become the command center for estate planning retaliation and legal coordination that would demonstrate exactly what happens when you attempt to exploit someone whose professional expertise and systematic authority was specifically designed to control the very legal systems that made your inheritance expectations possible. Have you ever wondered what happens when someone underestimates the wrong elderly relative while planning to exploit their vulnerability? Drop a comment below and let me know, because this foundation story is just the beginning, and Derek was about to discover that some aunts don't just have money, they control the entire legal infrastructure that makes inheritance possible. If you want to see how this systematic estate justice develops and hear more about the professional relationships and wealth protection authority that would soon eliminate Derek's illegal schemes, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. The stage has been set, the legal relationships have been established, and Derek's complete misunderstanding of family wealth management and estate planning authority would soon trigger the most comprehensive inheritance reversal that anyone in our community's financial history had ever witnessed. The relationship between my nephews and me hadn't always been poisoned by greed and systematic exploitation attempts. For nearly 4 decades before Derek and his siblings revealed their true predatory nature, we had built something genuinely beautiful, a family bond characterized by mutual respect, collaborative financial planning, and the kind of unconditional love that created both personal fulfillment and practical advantages for their professional development and personal growth throughout their entire adult lives as successful professionals in various fields. Those golden years of our family relationship weren't marked by dependency or financial obligation, but rather by voluntary collaboration and mutual support that provided benefits for all of us, while respecting individual autonomy and personal goals that complemented rather than conflicted with our family connection, and shared values about wealth stewardship, professional integrity, and collaborative problem-solving that had characterized Blackwood family traditions for multiple generations. Sometimes my nephews needed to make independent decisions and pursue separate priorities that enhanced rather than threatened our family relationship, and I had always encouraged their professional independence while offering financial guidance and estate planning expertise when they sought it. From the time Derek graduated from Boston University's School of Business until his systematic manipulation campaign began in early 2024, our interactions had been characterized by regular communication that enhanced rather than limited his individual development and professional success in commercial real estate development and property management. I provided strategic financial guidance that supported his professional advancement without creating dependency, and we maintained family traditions that offered emotional satisfaction and practical benefits without requiring sacrifice of personal relationships or career opportunities that might take him in different directions from family expectations or business involvement that could complicate his individual achievement and professional reputation throughout Hartford's competitive real estate and development market. Derek had established himself as a moderately successful commercial real estate agent at Pinnacle Properties, one of the mid-tier real estate firms in our metropolitan area. His specialty in commercial property sales and rental management had earned some recognition throughout the regional business community, and his real estate transactions had been featured in local business publications that demonstrated competent though not exceptional professional performance and standard industry practices that reflected adequate work ethic and basic business principles. But what had once made me proud wasn't his modest professional success. It was the way he had achieved it through individual effort and determination while maintaining strong family relationships and ethical standards that reflected the values we had always shared about hard work, professional integrity, and collaborative problem-solving that enhanced rather than compromised personal relationships and community involvement throughout his career development and social advancement. Our monthly family dinner tradition had begun when Derek first established his own apartment after college graduation in 2008. Every third Sunday of the month, he and his siblings would come to my colonial house on Elm Street for elaborate home-cooked meals and conversation that ranged from professional challenges and career planning to personal relationships and life philosophy that provided consistent family connection without interfering with their individual social lives and romantic relationships that were developing throughout their 20s and early 30s. These weren't obligatory family visits driven by guilt or expectation. They were genuinely enjoyable gatherings that we all looked forward to, and that provided systematic opportunities for family communication and collaborative problem-solving that enhanced their strategic thinking and decision-making capabilities, while maintaining emotional connection and mutual support that strengthened, rather than limited, their individual development and professional success. "Aunt Eleanor, I actually postponed a client meeting today because I didn't want to miss our family dinner," Derek had mentioned during one of our regular gatherings in spring 2019. "These monthly conversations help me think through challenges and opportunities in ways that I just can't replicate anywhere else. Your perspective on business relationship management and strategic thinking has been invaluable for my career development and professional success throughout the real estate industry." Quote, "The monthly dinners had provided natural opportunities for me to share insights from my legal career and estate management experience that could enhance Derek's client relationship strategies and business development approaches without crossing boundaries into inappropriate involvement in his professional activities or decision-making processes that needed to remain entirely under his control and direction based on his professional judgment and real estate expertise. I could offer strategic thinking frameworks and analytical approaches that helped him evaluate opportunities and challenges, while ensuring that all decisions and implementations were entirely his own choices based on his professional knowledge and personal priorities, rather than family pressure or inappropriate financial influence that might compromise his individual achievement and professional reputation throughout the competitive real estate development and property management industry." During Derek's late 20s, when he had been considering whether to accept a senior associate position at Pinnacle Properties that would require significant client relationship responsibility and team coordination, our discussions had provided comprehensive analysis of the career implications, professional development opportunities, and long-term business trajectory considerations that helped him understand the full scope of the opportunity while ensuring the choice was entirely his own based on personal goals and professional satisfaction rather than family expectations. "I want to make sure I'm evaluating this senior position for the right reasons and with complete understanding of both the advancement opportunities and management obligations involved," Derek had explained when seeking my perspective on the career development possibility that would significantly enhance his professional responsibilities and industry influence. "Your experience with business management and long-term strategic planning helps me understand considerations that might not be obvious from my current position within the firm. The guidance I provided had been based on legal expertise and analytical capability rather than family authority or emotional manipulation that might compromise his decision-making autonomy. I helped him develop systematic approaches to evaluating the position requirements, understanding the client relationship responsibilities, and project coordination obligations, and assessing whether the opportunity aligned with his personal values and long-term career goals that would affect his professional satisfaction and industry advancement throughout his real estate development career. But the final decision had been entirely his own, based on individual judgment about professional challenge and career development priorities that reflected his personal ambitions and strategic thinking, rather than family influence or business pressure that might compromise his individual achievement and professional independence throughout the real estate development and property management industry. When Derek had ultimately accepted the senior associate position, the celebration dinner we shared had been genuine recognition of his individual achievement and professional competence, rather than family pride in reflected glory or inherited advantages that might diminish his personal accomplishment and career success. I was proud of his advancement because it represented the culmination of years of hard work, strategic thinking, and ethical professional behavior that demonstrated character and capability that would serve him well throughout his career and personal life. The professional planning conversations that had become a regular part of our relationship weren't attempts to control his decisions or maintain inappropriate influence over his career choices and professional development. Instead, they were collaborative discussions that helped Derek understand market analysis techniques, project evaluation strategies, and long-term business development approaches that could enhance his professional capabilities and industry success, while ensuring his decision-making remained entirely autonomous and based on personal priorities rather than family pressure or business expectations. I appreciate having access to sophisticated business analysis and strategic planning expertise that helps me make better decisions about my own career and project development, Derek had said during discussions about professional advancement and industry positioning that had become more sophisticated as he gained experience and responsibility throughout his real estate career. Your legal background helps me understand market dynamics and strategic considerations that I might not recognize on my own, but I know the choices are always mine to make based on my own professional judgment and career goals. The business guidance had included comprehensive education about real estate market analysis and development economics, not to create pressure or obligation, but to ensure Derek understood industry dynamics and could make informed decisions about career risks and project investments without concern about basic professional competence that was already established through family business education and strategic planning experience. Derek had always known that our family estate planning practice could provide valuable professional networking and client relationship opportunities if he ever needed them, including detailed information about property development connections, legal resource relationships, and the collaborative approaches that governed access to family professional resources and industry influence throughout Hartford's business community. This transparency had been deliberately designed to prevent exactly the kind of manipulation and professional pressure that predators typically employed against family relationships and business connections, because Derek understood that family financial resources were available through collaborative planning and mutual respect, rather than inheritance relationships or emotional manipulation that might compromise professional integrity and individual achievement. The estate planning discussions had been matter-of-fact conversations about professional development and strategic planning, rather than dramatic revelations or family secrets that might create pressure or inappropriate influence over personal decisions and career choices. Derek understood that family financial connections were designed to enhance rather than control his professional options, and that access to industry resources was contingent on maintaining character and family relationships, rather than specific career decisions or business choices that reflected his individual values and professional preferences. I've always appreciated that our family financial relationships are designed to support my professional independence and individual goals, rather than create dependency or obligation that might compromise my decision-making. Derek had mentioned during strategic planning discussions that had become more detailed as he approached his 30s and began considering major professional decisions about partnership opportunities and long-term career commitments. Knowing that family financial resources are available allows me to make choices about career development based on genuine professional interest and personal satisfaction, rather than financial considerations that might influence my judgment for the wrong reasons. The family financial arrangements had included specific protections against professional manipulation and business exploitation, with industry relationships designed to ensure that family resources remained under family control, regardless of marriage relationships or business partnerships that might create conflicts of interest or compromise professional independence and individual achievement throughout career development and industry advancement. These protective measures weren't designed to control Derek's marriage choices or interfere with his romantic relationships, but rather to ensure that family financial resources continued to serve family values and priorities, rather than being exploited by individuals who might attempt to gain access to established industry connections through strategic relationship development and systematic manipulation of family dynamics for personal advantage and professional advancement. Derek had always understood and appreciated these protective arrangements because they enhanced rather than limited his autonomy in both professional and romantic relationships. He could pursue career opportunities based on genuine professional interest and strategic thinking, without concern that potential business partners might be motivated by family connection considerations, rather than his individual competence and project development capabilities. The family financial protection arrangements actually give me more freedom in professional relationships because I know that anyone who's interested in working with me must be genuinely interested in my individual capabilities rather than family business connections. Derek had explained during conversations about career development and business relationship management that had characterized his professional growth throughout his 20s and early 30s. I can focus on building relationships based on professional competence and mutual benefit, without worrying about people who might be motivated by family business considerations rather than genuine professional collaboration. The protective legal structures had been tested and proven effective during Derek's previous serious relationship with Michelle Patterson, a financial advisor whom he had dated for almost 3 years during his late 20s. Michelle had been genuinely welcomed into our family and had participated in holiday celebrations and business events with obvious comfort and mutual enjoyment, demonstrating exactly the kind of family integration and professional respect that the financial arrangements were designed to support and encourage. Michelle had shown genuine interest in our family estate planning history and business industry development, had contributed meaningfully to family conversations and celebrations, and had demonstrated the kind of character and values that indicated long-term compatibility with family priorities and financial principles that enhanced rather than threatened professional relationships and industry connections. Her professional accomplishments in financial planning complemented Derek's work in commercial real estate, and their shared commitment to ethical business practices and client service reflected values that enhanced rather than conflicted with family financial principles and professional standards that had characterized Blackwood family involvement in the business and estate planning industries throughout multiple decades of professional success and community leadership. Michelle feels like a natural addition to our family and business relationships. I had mentioned to Derek during conversations about his relationship development and long-term compatibility considerations that might affect both personal happiness and professional collaboration throughout their partnership development. She contributes to family gatherings and business discussions in ways that enhance everyone's understanding, while demonstrating genuine interest in building relationships rather than simply fulfilling social obligations or positioning herself for advantage. When Derek and Michelle had ultimately ended their relationship due to career opportunities that would have required long-distance separation and conflicting professional priorities, the decision had been mutual and amicable, based on practical considerations, rather than fundamental incompatibility or family disapproval that might have created lasting tension or negative feelings about family involvement in relationship evaluation and business development support. Michelle had continued to maintain friendly contact with our family even after the romantic relationship ended, demonstrating the kind of character and genuine family affection that indicated authentic relationship development rather than strategic positioning for professional advantage or business access that might disappear when romantic relationships concluded for practical or professional reasons. I'll always be grateful for the way your family welcomed me and made me feel like a genuine part of your celebrations and business discussions, Michelle had said during a conversation several months after her relationship with Derek had concluded. The experience helped me understand what healthy family business relationships look like, and what I should look for in future romantic partnerships and professional collaboration opportunities. The contrast between Michelle's genuine family integration and Derek's later systematic manipulation and exploitation tactics would eventually become stark evidence of the different motivations and character qualities that distinguished authentic relationship development from strategic social climbing and business exploitation attempts that targeted family resources and industry connections for personal advantage. Derek's siblings, Marcus and Jennifer, had followed similar patterns of healthy family integration during their 20s and early 30s. Marcus had established himself as a successful marketing manager at a Hartford advertising agency, while Jennifer had built a respectable career as a high school mathematics teacher and part-time educational consultant. Both had maintained regular contact and participation in family traditions without displaying the kind of entitlement or financial obsession that would later characterize Derek's behavior. Marcus had always been the most intellectually curious of the three siblings, often asking thoughtful questions about estate planning principles and wealth management strategies during family gatherings. His interest had seemed genuine and educational rather than opportunistic, focused on understanding complex financial concepts rather than calculating personal advantage or inheritance expectations. Aunt Eleanor, I find it fascinating how you've built systematic protections into estate planning that can prevent family conflicts before they start, Marcus had commented during one of our family dinners in 2020. The legal frameworks you've developed seem to anticipate every possible scenario, while still preserving individual autonomy and family relationships. It's like a comprehensive insurance policy for family harmony. Jennifer had demonstrated similar intellectual engagement with family financial education, but her focus had been more practical and service-oriented. As an educator, she understood the value of systematic knowledge transfer, and had often asked about estate planning principles that could benefit her students' families or her colleagues who were beginning to consider their own financial planning and wealth preservation needs. The estate planning concepts you've shared have helped me advise several colleagues about protecting their assets and planning for their children's education, Jennifer had mentioned during family gatherings. Your systematic approach to wealth protection has practical applications that go far beyond our family circumstances. It's valuable knowledge that can help anyone who wants to preserve what they've worked to build. The family dynamic during those golden years had been characterized by genuine intellectual curiosity, mutual respect, and collaborative learning that enhanced everyone's understanding while strengthening family bonds and shared values. The monthly dinners had become opportunities for meaningful conversation about professional challenges, personal growth, and strategic thinking that benefited everyone involved, while maintaining clear boundaries between family support and individual autonomy. During Derek's early 30s, as he had achieved greater professional stability and begun considering more serious long-term relationship commitments, our conversations had evolved to include more detailed discussions about family planning priorities, financial responsibility, and the kind of partnership qualities that would enhance rather than compromise his personal happiness and professional development throughout his adult life and career advancement. These discussions weren't attempts to control his romantic choices or impose family expectations on his relationship decisions, but rather collaborative analysis of relationship dynamics and compatibility factors that could affect long-term satisfaction and family harmony that would benefit everyone involved in expanded family relationships and financial collaboration throughout professional development and community involvement. I want to find someone who enhances rather than complicates family relationships and financial connections, Derek had explained during conversations about relationship priorities and marriage considerations that had become more focused as he approached his mid-30s and achieved greater professional stability. Our family relationship and business network are important to me, and I want any long-term partner to appreciate and contribute to family relationships, rather than viewing them as competition or obstacles to overcome. The relationship standards that Derek had developed weren't unreasonable expectations or controlling family requirements, but rather mature recognition that successful long-term partnerships required compatibility not just between romantic partners but also between individuals and their extended family relationships, and professional networks that provided ongoing support and connection throughout adult life and career development. Derek had also begun taking greater interest in family estate planning management and business industry development, not because he was planning to change careers or depend on family business involvement, but because he understood that family financial connections represented family legacy and values that he might eventually be responsible for understanding and supporting throughout future generations and industry development. I want to understand the family financial relationships and industry connections not because I'm planning to depend on inherited advantages, but because I recognize that these resources represent family legacy and values that I should understand and respect, Derek had said during discussions about estate planning and generational responsibility that had become more detailed as he matured and began considering long-term family relationship responsibilities and community stewardship. The gradual transition toward greater family business awareness had been natural and mutually beneficial, providing Derek with sophisticated understanding of estate planning and financial relationship coordination, while ensuring continuity of family values and financial principles that had preserved and enhanced family influence across multiple generations of business development and community leadership. These family business education discussions had included comprehensive information about professional relationships and industry structures, contract management and estate coordination, and the systematic approaches to quality control and professional relationship management that had characterized my career and continued to guide family business involvement and strategic planning throughout semi-retirement years. Derek had demonstrated genuine aptitude and interest in financial analysis and strategic relationship management that suggested natural ability for eventual family business coordination responsibilities, while also maintaining clear boundaries between family business involvement and personal career development that remained focused on real estate achievement and professional satisfaction, rather than dependence on inherited advantages or family industry connections. Learning about family estate planning management and industry relationship coordination actually enhances my professional development because it provides sophisticated analytical frameworks and strategic thinking approaches that improve my project planning and client relationship management capabilities, Derek had observed during business education sessions that had prepared him for potential family business involvement while supporting his current professional growth and development throughout the real estate industry. The professional development that resulted from family business education had created additional common ground for our relationship conversations and collaborative problem-solving, providing shared intellectual interests and strategic challenges that enhanced family connection while respecting individual autonomy and professional priorities that remained entirely under Derek's control and direction. The collaborative approach to family business education and leadership preparation had also provided systematic opportunities for assessing Derek's judgment and decision-making capabilities in complex financial situations that required analytical thinking and ethical reasoning that would be essential for protecting family financial interests and relationships from systematic threats and manipulation attempts that might emerge in future family situations. Derek had consistently demonstrated excellent judgment and strong ethical principles in business education scenarios and strategic planning exercises, providing confidence that family financial resources would continue to serve family values and priorities under his eventual understanding and responsibility for protecting industry relationships and financial coordination across future generations. Derek has shown exactly the kind of character and strategic thinking capability that justifies confidence in his understanding of family business relationships. I had noted in estate planning documentation that recorded systematic evaluation of family member qualifications and responsibility readiness that would guide future business practice transition and management coordination planning. His combination of professional competence, ethical standards, and family loyalty provides comprehensive foundation for understanding and supporting family financial relationships and industry influence across multiple generations. But perhaps most importantly, the golden years of our family relationship had been characterized by genuine mutual enjoyment and emotional satisfaction that went far beyond financial considerations or practical advantages to include the kind of authentic love and connection that made family gatherings and traditions genuinely rewarding experiences that enhanced rather than complicated our individual lives and personal development. The holiday celebrations during those years had been joyful occasions that brought together extended family members and close friends for celebrations that reflected our shared values and traditions, while accommodating individual preferences and scheduling requirements that respected everyone's personal commitments and relationship priorities throughout the business and legal communities. Christmas celebrations had included elaborate family dinners with traditional recipes and menu items that had been passed down through previous generations of Blackwood family business involvement, combined with contemporary additions and modifications that reflected changing family preferences and dietary considerations that made celebrations inclusive and enjoyable for everyone who participated in family gatherings and traditional observances. The gift-giving traditions had emphasized thoughtful selection and personal significance rather than expensive display or competitive spending that might create pressure or inappropriate focus on material considerations, rather than family connection and relationship appreciation that represented the authentic meaning and emotional satisfaction of holiday celebrations and family traditions. I always look forward to our family celebrations because they provide consistent opportunities for connection and tradition that enhance rather than complicate my individual life and professional responsibilities. Derek had mentioned during holiday planning discussions that had characterized our collaborative approach to family gathering coordination and tradition maintenance. The celebrations feel authentic and meaningful rather than obligatory or stressful, which makes them genuinely rewarding experiences that I want to share with anyone I'm in a serious relationship with. The family celebration traditions had provided natural opportunities for evaluating romantic partners and assessing their compatibility with family values and financial relationships, while also creating enjoyable social experiences that enhanced rather than threatened individual romantic relationships through positive family integration and mutual support for relationship development and long-term compatibility. The summer vacation traditions had included annual family trips to our lake cottage in the Berkshire Mountains, where Derek, Marcus, Jennifer, and I would spend a week each July enjoying outdoor activities, recreational boating, and leisurely conversations that provided uninterrupted time for family connection and relationship maintenance, without the distractions and scheduling pressures that characterized normal daily routines and professional responsibilities. These annual retreat experiences had been particularly valuable for maintaining family communication and collaborative problem-solving throughout Derek's professional development and personal growth, providing systematic opportunities for discussing challenges and opportunities, while enjoying recreational activities and natural settings that enhanced perspective and strategic thinking about life priorities and relationship development. Our annual lake cottage weeks have become some of my favorite family memories, because they provide time and space for the kind of deep conversations and relationship building that's hard to maintain during busy professional schedules and daily responsibilities. Derek had said during vacation planning discussions that had become more important as his career demands and social obligations had increased throughout his 30s. The lake cottage traditions had also provided natural opportunities for romantic partners to experience extended family interaction and participate in family activities that revealed character and compatibility factors that might not be obvious during shorter social gatherings or formal family events that provided limited insight into personality and relationship dynamics under relaxed circumstances and collaborative activities. Michelle Patterson had participated in 2 annual lake cottage vacations during her relationship with Derek, demonstrating exactly the kind of family integration and genuine enjoyment that indicated authentic relationship development and compatibility with family values and social dynamics that enhanced rather than complicated family relationships and long-term partnership potential. Michelle's enthusiasm for family activities and genuine interest in family stories and business traditions shows exactly the kind of character and family appreciation that makes romantic partners welcome additions to family celebrations. I had observed during vacation experiences that had provided comprehensive opportunities for relationship assessment and compatibility evaluation under extended social interaction circumstances and collaborative activity participation. The contrast between Michelle's authentic family integration and Derek's later systematic manipulation and exploitation tactics would eventually provide stark evidence of different motivations and strategic objectives that distinguish genuine family relationship development from systematic social climbing and business exploitation planning that targeted family resources rather than building authentic relationship foundations. The professional mentorship aspects of our relationship during those golden years had been particularly rewarding for both of us, providing opportunities for me to share insights and expertise from my legal career while supporting Derek's professional development and strategic thinking without crossing boundaries into inappropriate control or dependency that might compromise his individual achievement and personal satisfaction with professional success. Your experience with business relationship management and strategic analysis has been invaluable for helping me understand development opportunities and client relationship challenges that I might not have recognized or addressed effectively on my own, Derek had explained during conversations about professional development and career advancement that had characterized our collaborative approach to strategic planning and problem-solving throughout his real estate career development. The professional guidance had included analysis of client relationship dynamics, strategic approaches to business development and partnership building, and systematic evaluation of career opportunities and advancement possibilities that required sophisticated thinking about long-term professional goals and personal satisfaction considerations that would affect life planning and relationship priorities. But perhaps most importantly, the professional mentorship had been based on mutual respect and collaborative analysis rather than hierarchical authority or family control that might compromise Derek's professional autonomy and individual decision-making about career development and business relationship management that remained entirely under his direction and control. The collaborative approach to professional development had created shared intellectual interests and strategic challenges that enhanced family relationships while providing practical benefits for Derek's career advancement and business success that demonstrated the value of family wisdom and experience without creating dependency or obligation that might compromise individual achievement and personal satisfaction. The professional insights and strategic thinking frameworks that I've learned through our family conversations have enhanced my professional capabilities and business development success in ways that support rather than replace my individual effort and talent, Derek had noted during career evaluation discussions that had recognized both family contribution and individual achievement in professional development and advancement. The golden years of our family relationship had created exactly the kind of foundation and mutual trust that made Derek's systematic manipulation and exploitation attempts particularly devastating and obviously inappropriate, compared to the healthy family dynamics and collaborative relationship building that had characterized our family interaction and tradition maintenance for over 3 decades of mutual support and genuine affection. Those years had established patterns of respect, communication, and collaborative problem-solving that made the contrast with Derek's later behavior obvious and disturbing to anyone who understood healthy family relationship dynamics, and the difference between authentic integration and systematic manipulation designed to eliminate family influence and oversight that might interfere with resource exploitation and financial advancement objectives. But those beautiful years were about to become evidence of exactly what Derek had attempted to destroy through systematic exploitation and family manipulation, and his inheritance schemes would provide the final documentation necessary for implementing the most comprehensive estate planning consequences that anyone in our family's history had ever experienced. Have you ever watched someone systematically destroy something beautiful, only to face consequences they never imagined possible? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. Because Derek's story is just beginning, and those golden years that he dismissed as outdated family dynamics were about to become the foundation for the most systematic financial justice that anyone in our social circle had ever witnessed. If you're enjoying this story of family loyalty and strategic consequences, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Tomorrow, I'll tell you exactly how Derek entered his predatory phase and began his systematic campaign to replace genuine family relationships with exploitation and manipulation that would ultimately cost him everything he thought he was gaining through strategic caregiving and inheritance positioning. The systematic transformation of Derek from genuine family member to calculating predator didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual metamorphosis that began in January 2024 and would ultimately reveal itself as one of the most sophisticated inheritance exploitation schemes I had encountered in 40 years of protecting family wealth from exactly this type of predatory behavior. What made Derek's approach particularly dangerous was its careful timing and strategic patience, designed to coincide with my apparent vulnerability, while positioning himself as the devoted caretaker who deserved recognition and reward for his sacrificial service to aging family. The first warning sign appeared during our monthly family dinner in February 2024, approximately 6 weeks after I had mentioned during casual conversation that I had been experiencing some fatigue and respiratory issues that my doctor was monitoring. Derek's response to this routine health update revealed the beginning of a calculated interest that had nothing to do with genuine concern for my well-being and everything to do with strategic positioning for inheritance opportunities. Aunt Eleanor, I've been thinking about your health situation, and I want you to know that you can count on me for anything you need, Derek had announced with an intensity that seemed disproportionate to my relatively minor health concerns. I've been reading about elder care and family support systems, and I think it's important for us to start having more serious conversations about practical planning and support arrangements that could help you maintain your independence while ensuring you have all the assistance you need. The language Derek used had been carefully chosen to sound caring and responsible, while actually introducing concepts about dependence and assistance that I had never requested or indicated I needed. The shift from our normal professional consultation dynamics to his assumption of caretaker authority represented a fundamental change in family hierarchy that had never been discussed or agreed upon. But what made Derek's new approach particularly concerning was his systematic introduction of contemporary eldercare terminology and family planning concepts that seemed designed to normalize his increasing involvement in my personal affairs, while positioning my normal aging process as a crisis that required immediate family intervention and systematic support coordination. I've been researching modern approaches to family caregiving and elder support, Derek had continued during that February dinner. Most family planning experts recommend that aging family members establish clear support networks and assistance protocols before they actually need them, so there's no confusion or family conflict when health issues become more serious. The manipulation had been sophisticated and strategic, using apparent research and professional terminology to create legitimacy for Derek's increasing oversight while concealing his true objectives for gaining access to my personal affairs and financial arrangements. He had transformed normal family concern into systematic intervention planning, without my consent or input into the supposed necessity for such arrangements. What I found most revealing was Derek's obvious frustration when I politely declined his offers of assistance and maintained my normal independence and decision-making authority. His reaction suggested that he had expected immediate gratitude and compliance rather than the continued autonomy that characterized my actual health status and personal capabilities. "I'm grateful for your concern, Derek, but I'm managing my health situation quite well with my medical team, and I don't anticipate needing additional family support at this time," I had responded, maintaining clear boundaries while observing his reaction to my continued independence. "If circumstances change and I do need assistance, I'll certainly let you know, and we can discuss appropriate arrangements." Derek's expression had revealed disappointment and something approaching irritation that my health concerns weren't more serious or debilitating than I had indicated. His response suggested that he had been hoping for greater vulnerability that would justify increased involvement and oversight, rather than genuine relief that my health issues were manageable and temporary. The second phase of Derek's transformation involved systematic research into my daily routines, medical appointments, and personal affairs that went far beyond normal family concern to include strategic intelligence gathering that would support more sophisticated manipulation and intervention planning. Throughout March 2024, Derek began implementing what appeared to be increased family attention but was actually comprehensive surveillance and information collection. "I thought I'd stop by more often just to check in and see how you're feeling," Derek had explained during his first unscheduled visit to my Elm Street colonial in early March. "I was in the neighborhood showing a property, and I wanted to make sure you weren't having any problems or needed anything from the store." The unscheduled visits had been presented as spontaneous caregiving gestures, but their timing and frequency revealed systematic planning designed to gather information about my routines, assess my physical capabilities, and identify potential vulnerabilities that could be exploited for increased involvement and control over my personal affairs. During these visits, Derek displayed unusual interest in my home environment, asking detailed questions about household management, maintenance responsibilities, and daily activities that seemed designed to assess whether I was experiencing any difficulties that might justify family intervention and assistance coordination. "This house is quite large for someone living alone," Derek had commented during one of his surveillance visits. "Are you finding it challenging to manage all the maintenance and household responsibilities? I know several elderly family friends who have found it beneficial to simplify their living arrangements or accept family assistance with property management and daily tasks." The systematic probing revealed Derek's strategic thinking about creating problems or identifying weaknesses that could support arguments for increased family involvement and assistance. His approach suggested comprehensive planning for establishing necessity and justification for intervention, rather than responding to actual problems or difficulties I was experiencing. But what made Derek's surveillance particularly insidious was his careful documentation of any minor challenges or temporary difficulties, which he systematically exaggerated and misrepresented to create an impression of declining capabilities and increasing vulnerability that would support his intervention narrative and assistance proposals. "I noticed that you seemed a little winded when you were working in your garden yesterday," Derek had mentioned during a family phone call, transforming normal physical exertion during routine gardening into evidence of health decline and physical limitation. "I'm concerned that you might be pushing yourself too hard or not recognizing when you need to ask for help with physical activities." Quote, "The systematic misrepresentation of normal activities and temporary fatigue into signs of serious decline revealed Derek's comprehensive strategy for creating necessity and urgency around family intervention, while positioning himself as the observant family member who recognized problems that I was supposedly ignoring or denying." Throughout April 2024, Derek's manipulation escalated to include systematic pressure for family meetings and planning discussions that would establish formal caregiving arrangements and support protocols, despite my continued good health and independent capabilities. His approach became increasingly insistent and demanding, revealing growing frustration with my resistance to unnecessary assistance and intervention. "I think we need to have a serious family conversation about practical planning and support arrangements," Derek had announced during our April family dinner, using language that suggested crisis management rather than the routine family coordination that had always characterized our relationship dynamics. I've been consulting with elder care specialists and family planning experts who recommend establishing formal assistance protocols before they're actually needed. The pressure for formal planning represented a fundamental shift from our collaborative family relationship to Derek's assumption of authority and decision-making responsibility that had never been requested or granted. His approach suggested that he viewed my aging process as automatic justification for family oversight and intervention, rather than maintaining the respect for autonomy and independence that had always characterized our family interactions. But perhaps most concerning was Derek's systematic attempts to involve his siblings Marcus and Jennifer in his intervention planning, positioning himself as the family leader who had recognized problems and developed solutions that required coordinated family implementation and support. Derek has raised some important concerns about Aunt Eleanor's health situation and living arrangements, Derek had told Marcus during private conversations that he later shared with me, apparently expecting appreciation for his family leadership rather than recognition of his inappropriate assumption of authority. We need to start thinking seriously about how we can provide better support and assistance coordination. Quote, "The systematic family organizing revealed Derek's comprehensive strategy for building coalition support and family pressure that would overcome my resistance to unnecessary intervention, while establishing his authority as primary caretaker and family coordinator for my supposed needs and support requirements." What I found most disturbing was Derek's obvious expectation that his siblings would automatically support his intervention proposals without question or independent assessment of whether such assistance was actually needed or appropriate, based on my actual capabilities and preferences, rather than his strategic characterizations and manipulation. During May 2024, Derek's approach evolved to include direct challenges to my decision-making authority and systematic attempts to establish himself as the appropriate family member to handle my financial affairs and estate planning coordination. His increasing boldness revealed growing confidence in his manipulation strategy and decreasing respect for my autonomy and authority. "I've been thinking about your estate planning and financial management responsibilities," Derek had announced during a family visit that seemed specifically designed for this conversation. "As you get older and deal with health concerns, it might be beneficial to delegate some of these complex responsibilities to family members who can provide assistance and ensure everything is handled properly." The direct challenge to my professional competence and financial authority represented a dramatic escalation from Derek's previous caregiving proposals to systematic attempts at gaining control over my business affairs and estate management. His approach suggested comprehensive planning for financial takeover rather than temporary assistance with specific tasks or responsibilities. But what made Derek's financial intervention proposals particularly revealing was his obvious assumption that aging automatically created incompetence, and that family members had natural authority to assume financial responsibilities without consent or demonstration of actual need for such assistance and oversight. "I've been consulting with financial advisors and estate planning specialists about best practices for aging family members," Derek had continued, using apparent professional consultation to legitimize his intervention proposals. "Most experts recommend establishing family oversight and assistance protocols for complex financial management before problems develop or capabilities decline." The systematic use of professional terminology and supposed expert consultation revealed Derek's sophisticated approach to manipulation, creating apparent legitimacy and necessity for intervention proposals that were actually designed to serve his strategic objectives, rather than my actual needs or preferences for continued independence and autonomous decision-making. Throughout June 2024, Derek's manipulation campaign began incorporating systematic criticism of my lifestyle choices and living arrangements, designed to create problems and justify intervention, while positioning himself as the family member who could provide solutions and improvement coordination that would enhance my security and well-being. "I'm concerned about you living alone in this large house with all these valuable antiques and art pieces," Derek had commented during one of his surveillance visits, shifting focus from health concerns to security issues that could justify increased involvement and oversight. "Have you considered whether your current security arrangements are adequate for protecting these valuable assets, especially given your health concerns and the isolated location of the property?" The security concerns had been presented as family protection and asset preservation, but Derek's focus on my valuable possessions and their protection revealed strategic thinking about inheritance assets rather than genuine concern for my personal safety and security needs. But perhaps most revealing was Derek's systematic cataloging of my possessions during his visits, taking particular interest in antiques, artwork, and valuable items that would represent significant inheritance value. His approach suggested comprehensive inventory planning rather than casual family interest in my collections and personal property. "This Chinese porcelain collection is absolutely beautiful," Derek had commented while systematically examining and photographing pieces during a visit that seemed designed specifically for asset assessment. "Have you had these pieces professionally appraised recently? I imagine they represent substantial value that should be properly documented for insurance and estate planning purposes." Quote, "The systematic documentation of valuable assets revealed Derek's strategic preparation for inheritance planning and asset liquidation rather than appreciation for family heirlooms and artistic collections that represented personal history and emotional significance, rather than financial value and investment opportunities." During July 2024, Derek's approach escalated to include systematic pressure for legal document updates and estate planning modifications that would enhance family involvement and oversight while providing him with increased authority and access to financial information and decision-making processes. "I think it's important for you to review and update your estate planning documents to reflect current family circumstances and support arrangements," Derek had announced during our July family dinner, introducing legal document modification as natural family planning rather than the significant legal changes that such updates would actually represent. Most estate planning experts recommend regular updates, especially when health circumstances change or family support needs evolve. The pressure for legal document changes represented the most direct challenge to my financial authority and estate control that Derek had attempted, revealing his ultimate strategic objectives for gaining legal access and authority over my assets and inheritance arrangements. But what made Derek's legal intervention proposals particularly concerning was his systematic misrepresentation of estate planning best practices and legal requirements, using apparent expertise to justify intervention while actually promoting changes that would serve his strategic interests rather than standard professional recommendations or legal requirements. "I've been consulting with legal professionals about modern estate planning approaches and family coordination," Derek had explained, using supposed professional consultation to support his intervention proposals. "Contemporary estate planning typically includes family involvement and oversight mechanisms that provide protection and assistance for aging estate holders, while ensuring proper management and preservation of assets." Quote, "The systematic misrepresentation of legal standards and professional recommendations revealed Derek's willingness to use false information and manipulation to achieve his strategic objectives, demonstrating clear intent for exploitation rather than genuine concern for proper estate planning and asset protection." By August 2024, Derek's manipulation had evolved to include systematic coordination with his siblings, Marcus and Jennifer, who had initially resisted his intervention proposals but were gradually being convinced by his persistent arguments about my supposed declining capabilities and increasing vulnerability. "Derek has made some valid points about the responsibilities we have as family members to ensure Aunt Eleanor is properly supported and protected," Marcus had commented during a family gathering, revealing Derek's success in building coalition support for his intervention agenda. "Maybe we do need to be more proactive about family coordination and assistance, rather than waiting for problems to develop." The systematic family organizing had been Derek's most successful manipulation strategy, creating apparent family consensus and shared concern that made resistance to intervention appear selfish and irresponsible, rather than appropriate respect for autonomy and independence. But what I found most disappointing was Marcus and Jennifer's gradual acceptance of Derek's characterizations and intervention proposals, without independent assessment or direct conversation with me about my actual needs, preferences, and capabilities, rather than Derek's strategic representations and manipulation. "We don't want to be intrusive or controlling," Jennifer had explained during conversations about family coordination. "But we also don't want to neglect our responsibilities if Aunt Eleanor needs support that she's too proud or independent to ask for directly." The systematic manipulation of family loyalty and responsibility had been Derek's most effective strategy for overcoming resistance and building support for intervention that would ultimately serve his strategic objectives, rather than my actual needs, or the legitimate family values that had always characterized our relationship dynamics. During September 2024, Derek's approach became more aggressive and demanding, revealing growing impatience with my continued resistance to unnecessary intervention and his strategic timeline for establishing control and authority before I might recognize his true motivations and implement protective measures. I really think we need to formalize some assistance arrangements and support protocols, Derek had insisted during a family meeting that he had organized without my input or consent. The current informal approach isn't providing adequate coordination or ensuring that important responsibilities are being handled properly. The demand for formal arrangements represented Derek's most direct challenge to my authority and independence, revealing his strategic timeline for establishing legal control and systematic access to my financial affairs and estate planning before potential obstacles or resistance could develop. But what made Derek's formal intervention proposals particularly concerning was his systematic preparation of legal documents and assistance protocols that had been developed without my involvement or consent, suggesting comprehensive planning for implementation regardless of my preferences or cooperation with his strategic objectives. I've had legal professionals draft some basic assistance agreements and coordination protocols that would provide framework for family support while protecting everyone's interests and ensuring proper documentation, Derek had announced, presenting pre-developed legal documents as collaborative family planning rather than the strategic manipulation and control mechanisms that such agreements would actually represent. The presentation of pre-developed legal documents revealed Derek's comprehensive preparation for implementation of his strategic objectives, demonstrating clear intent for control and exploitation rather than responsive family assistance based on actual needs and collaborative planning. By October 2024, Derek's manipulation campaign had reached crisis intensity, as he apparently realized that his gradual approach was not succeeding in establishing the control and access that his strategic timeline required. His increasing desperation revealed the calculated nature of his entire campaign, and his growing recognition that I understood his true motivations. "We can't continue to ignore the reality of the situation," Derek had announced during what would be our final family dinner before my hospitalization. "And Eleanor needs systematic family support and assistance coordination, whether she recognizes it or not, and we have responsibilities as family members to ensure her protection and security." The ultimatum language revealed Derek's abandonment of collaborative family dynamics in favor of authoritarian demands and family pressure designed to overcome my resistance through systematic manipulation and emotional coercion, rather than genuine family concern and collaborative problem-solving. But what Derek hadn't anticipated was that his systematic manipulation campaign and strategic intervention planning had been comprehensively documented and analyzed using the same professional threat assessment techniques that had protected family wealth from predatory behavior throughout my legal career. Every conversation, every manipulation attempt, and every strategic proposal had been recorded and analyzed as evidence of systematic exploitation planning that would justify immediate protective action when Derek's behavior finally escalated to the point where decisive intervention became necessary for protecting family assets and maintaining appropriate boundaries. The documentation included detailed behavioral analysis, expert consultation on predatory manipulation patterns, and comprehensive evidence collection that would support immediate exclusion from inheritance consideration and permanent termination of family financial access, when Derek's exploitation attempts finally provided clear justification for protective consequences. Dr. Rebecca Martinez, a specialist in family manipulation and elder exploitation who had provided consultation throughout my documentation period, had confirmed that Derek's systematic approach represented classic predatory behavior designed to gain access to family assets through strategic caregiving and intervention manipulation. Derek's systematic approach to establishing necessity and control represents textbook elder exploitation planning, Dr. Martinez had explained during professional consultation sessions. The gradual escalation, family organizing, and legal intervention proposals indicate comprehensive strategy for asset access rather than genuine family concern or appropriate caregiving assistance. Quote, "The expert analysis had been supplemented by legal consultation with estate planning specialists and family law experts who confirmed that Derek's behavior violated fundamental principles of family respect and autonomous decision-making that governed appropriate family relationships and inheritance considerations." Attorney Sarah Chen, who specialized in elder protection and family exploitation prevention, had reviewed the comprehensive evidence documentation and confirmed that Derek's systematic manipulation provided sufficient justification for immediate protective action and permanent exclusion from inheritance consideration under standard estate planning protection protocols. The documented evidence of systematic manipulation and exploitation planning clearly demonstrates behavior that violates basic family trust and respect requirements. Attorney Chen had explained during legal consultation about protective intervention options and immediate response capabilities. The systematic nature of Derek's approach and his obvious strategic objectives justify comprehensive protective action, including inheritance modification and family access termination. The legal analysis had confirmed that immediate consequences could be implemented through estate planning modifications and family resource termination that would eliminate Derek's access to family assets, while providing clear documentation of the violations that justified such protective action. But Derek's most catastrophic mistake had been his assumption that my apparent health vulnerability and family coordination would prevent me from recognizing his manipulation patterns, or implementing the professional protective measures that my estate planning expertise had been specifically designed to handle. The quiet elderly aunt that Derek had been systematically manipulating and positioning for exploitation was about to demonstrate that some family members possess exactly the professional expertise and legal authority necessary to eliminate inheritance access and family financial relationships when systematic manipulation crosses the line from inappropriate behavior to comprehensive exploitation planning. Derek's transformation from genuine family member to calculating predator had been systematic and comprehensive, but his manipulation campaign was about to encounter exactly the kind of devastating professional response that demonstrated why targeting someone's family relationships and attempting to exploit their apparent vulnerability based on assumptions about legal irrelevance could be the most catastrophically expensive miscalculation that anyone pursuing inheritance through manipulation could ever make. The foundation had been laid, the evidence had been collected, and Derek's systematic exploitation planning was about to trigger protective consequences that would serve as comprehensive demonstration of why family relationships represent more than social obligations. They represent legal frameworks and financial authority that would be protected through any means necessary against systematic manipulation and predatory exploitation. Have you ever witnessed someone transform from genuine family member into calculating predator while believing they were too clever to face consequences? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts, because Derek's systematic manipulation campaign was about to encounter exactly the kind of devastating response that demonstrates why targeting elderly family members based on assumptions about their powerlessness and legal irrelevance could be the most expensive inheritance mistake anyone could ever make. If you're following this story of systematic manipulation and strategic consequences, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Tomorrow, I'll reveal exactly how Derek's manipulation campaign reached its climax when my health crisis provided him with the opportunity he had been systematically planning for, and how that opportunity would become the trigger for the most comprehensive estate planning retaliation that anyone in our family's history had ever witnessed. The moment Derek had been systematically planning for throughout his 10-month manipulation campaign arrived on a cold Tuesday morning in November 2024. When I was rushed to Riverside General Hospital with severe pneumonia that would require several days of intensive treatment and recovery. What Derek didn't realize was that my hospitalization would provide him with exactly the opportunity he needed to reveal his true predatory nature and give me the documented evidence necessary to implement the most comprehensive estate planning retaliation that anyone in our family's history had ever experienced. Derek's response to my emergency hospitalization revealed the calculated patience and strategic preparation that had characterized his entire manipulation campaign. Within hours of receiving the call about my condition, he had implemented what appeared to be devoted family coordination but was actually the execution phase of his systematic inheritance exploitation scheme. "Don't worry about anything at home, Aunt Eleanor," Derek had announced during his first hospital visit, displaying the kind of take-charge authority that he had been systematically building toward throughout his manipulation campaign. "I'm going to coordinate everything and make sure your house and affairs are properly managed while you focus on recovering. You don't need to worry about any practical concerns or responsibilities." The immediate assumption of authority and control revealed Derek's comprehensive preparation for this exact scenario. His response had been too smooth, too organized, and too comprehensive to represent spontaneous family assistance. This was clearly the implementation of systematic planning that had been developed throughout his manipulation campaign. But what made Derek's hospital visit most revealing was his obvious excitement barely concealed beneath his performance of family concern. His eyes revealed satisfaction and anticipation that had nothing to do with my recovery, and everything to do with the opportunities my hospitalization provided for advancing his strategic objectives. I've already started coordinating with Marcus and Jennifer to establish systematic support and oversight for your property and affairs, Derek had continued, revealing pre-existing family coordination that confirmed his comprehensive preparation for exploiting my vulnerability. We want to ensure everything is handled properly and that you don't have any additional stress or concerns while you're recovering. The systematic family coordination that Derek claimed to have started had obviously been planned and prepared well in advance of my hospitalization. His immediate implementation revealed months of strategic preparation and family organizing designed specifically for this type of opportunity. During my second day in the hospital, Derek's manipulation escalated to direct pressure for legal document signing that would establish his authority and access to my financial affairs. His approach revealed growing confidence and decreasing concern about concealing his true motivations from my supposedly weakened state. I've consulted with legal professionals about temporary assistance arrangements that would provide proper protection for your affairs while you're recovering, Derek had announced, producing documents that had obviously been prepared well in advance of my hospitalization. These power of attorney forms would just give me temporary authority to handle practical matters and coordinate with your business relationships until you're fully recovered and can resume normal responsibilities. The presentation of pre-prepared legal documents revealed Derek's comprehensive strategic planning for exploiting my hospitalization. The documents had been professionally prepared and represented sophisticated legal manipulation rather than emergency family assistance arrangements. But what made Derek's legal pressure most disturbing was his systematic misrepresentation of the document contents and implications. The temporary arrangements he described would actually establish comprehensive financial authority that could be difficult to revoke and would provide him with access to estate planning information and business relationships that had been carefully protected throughout my career. These are just standard family assistance protocols that provide basic coordination authority, Derek had explained, using deliberately misleading language to conceal the comprehensive control and access that the documents would actually establish. Most families use similar arrangements during health crises to ensure proper management and protection of important affairs. The systematic misrepresentation of legal document contents revealed Derek's willingness to use outright deception and fraud to achieve his strategic objectives. His approach demonstrated clear intent for exploitation rather than legitimate family assistance or temporary coordination. When I politely declined to sign the documents and maintained my preference for handling my own affairs through my existing professional relationships, Derek's reaction revealed the frustration and entitlement that had been building throughout his manipulation campaign. Aunt Eleanor, I think you're not thinking clearly about the practical realities of your situation, Derek had responded with barely concealed irritation. You're in the hospital with serious health problems, and you need family coordination and assistance whether you recognize it or not. These legal arrangements are necessary for your own protection and security. The direct challenge to my mental competence and decision-making authority represented Derek's most aggressive manipulation attempt and revealed his growing desperation as his strategic timeline encountered resistance from my continued independence and professional authority. But Derek's most catastrophic mistake occurred during my third day in the hospital, when he apparently decided that direct confrontation and systematic pressure would be more effective than his previous manipulation tactics. His approach revealed complete abandonment of family respect and collaborative problem-solving in favor of authoritarian demands and systematic coercion. Listen, I don't think you understand how serious your situation actually is, Derek had said during what would become our final conversation, displaying the kind of condescending authority that revealed his true assessment of family hierarchy and his expectations for compliance with his strategic demands. You're 70 years old, you're in the hospital with serious health problems, and you're living alone in a house full of valuable items that need proper protection and management. Whether you like it or not, you need systematic family oversight and assistance. The ultimatum language and dismissive attitude revealed Derek's complete transformation from manipulative family member to aggressive predator who expected immediate compliance with his demands regardless of my preferences or legal authority. His approach demonstrated clear intent for systematic control and exploitation. But what Derek hadn't anticipated was that his hospital confrontation was being professionally recorded and documented as evidence of systematic elder exploitation and family manipulation that would justify immediate protective action and comprehensive consequences through estate planning modification and inheritance termination. The recording equipment that I had systematically maintained throughout Derek's manipulation campaign captured his ultimatum demands and revealed the calculated nature of his entire strategy for gaining control over my affairs and assets through systematic manipulation and family pressure. I've been preparing for this conversation for months, and I'm not leaving here until we establish proper family coordination and legal authority for managing your affairs, Derek had continued, revealing comprehensive strategic planning and systematic preparation for exploiting my hospitalization. The voluntary approach isn't working, so we're going to implement necessary arrangements whether you cooperate or not. The direct threat and admission of systematic planning provided exactly the evidence necessary for implementing immediate protective consequences and permanent exclusion from inheritance consideration under estate planning protection protocols that had been specifically designed for this type of predatory behavior. But Derek's most devastating revelation occurred when he apparently believed I was too weak and vulnerable to resist his demands or report his behavior to protective authorities and professional networks that could implement systematic consequences for his exploitation attempts. "Don't worry, Aunt Eleanor, this is all going to work out perfectly for everyone involved," Derek had said with obvious satisfaction at what he believed was his successful manipulation and control strategy. "Once we get the legal arrangements established, I'll coordinate with Marcus and Jennifer to ensure your house and assets are properly managed and protected. We've already started cataloging your valuable items and researching market values to ensure everything is properly documented and secured." The admission of systematic asset evaluation and market research revealed Derek's ultimate strategic objectives for inheritance exploitation and asset liquidation. His approach demonstrated comprehensive planning for financial benefit rather than family protection or temporary assistance during my recovery. The recording of Derek's admission provided comprehensive evidence of predatory intent and systematic exploitation planning that would justify immediate implementation of estate planning consequences and permanent family access termination through legal modification and inheritance protection protocols. Within hours of Derek's hospital ultimatum, I had initiated systematic communication with my professional networks and implemented emergency protective protocols that would eliminate Derek's access to family resources while providing comprehensive documentation of his exploitation attempts and systematic manipulation campaign. The emergency communication had been conducted through secure hospital systems that provided immediate contact with Blackwood Estate Management personnel and professional legal coordinators who could implement systematic protective action within hours of documented exploitation attempts and family manipulation. "This is Eleanor Blackwood, requesting immediate implementation of Emergency Estate Protection Protocol under comprehensive authority provisions for documented exploitation attempts and systematic family manipulation." I had communicated to my professional team using established emergency response procedures for immediate asset protection and inheritance modification. The emergency protocols had been developed specifically for situations involving family exploitation and predatory behavior, providing systematic capability for immediate protective action and comprehensive consequence implementation that could preserve family assets while eliminating access for individuals who had violated family trust and respect requirements. Marcus Sterling, my senior trust coordinator and financial specialist, had implemented immediate estate modification and family access termination within 12 hours of my emergency authorization, eliminating all inheritance provisions and family resource allocation that had been scheduled for Derek's benefit throughout estate planning arrangements. Eleanor's emergency authorization provides comprehensive justification for immediate estate modification and family access termination, Marcus had explained during emergency coordination calls with legal personnel and professional network partners. Derek's documented exploitation attempts and systematic manipulation clearly violate every family trust requirement and inheritance consideration standard that governs our estate planning protocols. Quote, Patricia Romano, my estate coordination director, had implemented immediate communication with legal networks and professional relationships throughout the Hartford area, ensuring that Derek's exploitation attempts would be documented and shared throughout estate planning and family protection communities that could provide ongoing monitoring and consequence coordination. The professional networks and legal relationships that Eleanor has developed throughout her career provide systematic capability for implementing comprehensive protective action and ongoing consequence coordination, Patricia had noted during emergency legal coordination. Derek's systematic manipulation and exploitation planning will result in permanent exclusion from estate planning services and family financial access throughout the regional professional community. David Chen, my legal research director and contract management specialist, had implemented immediate documentation and evidence preservation protocols that would provide comprehensive legal protection and permanent record of Derek's exploitation attempts for future reference and protection planning. The systematic evidence collection and professional documentation provides comprehensive justification for permanent protective action and family access termination, David had confirmed during emergency legal consultation. Derek's exploitation attempts represent clear violation of family trust and inheritance considerations that justify complete exclusion from estate planning benefits and family financial relationships. But the most devastating consequences for Derek's exploitation campaign were implemented through systematic professional network coordination that extended far beyond my individual estate planning, to include comprehensive exclusion from family financial services and business relationships throughout the Hartford area's estate planning and wealth management community. Dr. Rebecca Martinez, the family manipulation specialist who had provided consultation throughout my documentation period, had implemented immediate communication with professional networks and family protection services that would ensure Derek's predatory behavior was documented and monitored throughout estate planning and elder protection communities. Derek's systematic manipulation and exploitation attempts represent classic predatory behavior that requires comprehensive professional response and ongoing monitoring, drive. Martinez had explained during emergency consultation coordination, the documented evidence provides justification for permanent exclusion from family financial services and systematic warning throughout elder protection and estate planning networks. Attorney Sarah Chen, who specialized in elder protection and family exploitation prevention, had implemented immediate legal action and professional network notification that would ensure Derek faced comprehensive consequences for his systematic manipulation and exploitation planning. The comprehensive evidence of systematic exploitation and manipulation provides legal justification for immediate protective action and permanent exclusion from inheritance consideration, Attorney Chen had confirmed during emergency legal coordination. Derek's behavior violates fundamental legal standards for family relationships and estate planning that justify complete family financial access termination and professional network exclusion. While Derek was celebrating what he believed was his successful manipulation and preparing for systematic asset liquidation and inheritance exploitation, the professional networks and legal relationships that I had developed throughout my career were implementing comprehensive consequences that would eliminate his access to family resources and ensure permanent exclusion from estate planning benefits. The estate modification had been executed with surgical precision through coordinated legal action and professional network cooperation that eliminated Derek's inheritance provisions, while establishing comprehensive protection against future exploitation attempts and family manipulation. Within 48 hours of Derek's hospital ultimatum, his entire inheritance expectation had been systematically eliminated through estate planning modification and family access termination that redistributed his anticipated benefits to legitimate charitable organizations and family members who had demonstrated appropriate respect and genuine family loyalty. The estate modification has been completed using established legal protocols for family protection and exploitation prevention, Attorney Chen had confirmed during final legal coordination. Derek's inheritance provisions have been eliminated and redistributed to charitable organizations that support elder protection and family exploitation prevention throughout the Hartford community. Quote, the charitable redistribution had included substantial donations to the Hartford Elder Protection Foundation, the Connecticut Family Exploitation Prevention Center, and the Regional Estate Planning Education Institute that would provide ongoing education and protection services for elderly individuals facing family manipulation and predatory exploitation attempts. But perhaps most devastating for Derek was the systematic implementation of professional network consequences that would affect his real estate career and business relationships throughout the Hartford area's financial and estate planning community. The professional network notification had included comprehensive information about Derek's systematic manipulation and exploitation attempts, ensuring that his predatory behavior would be documented and monitored by estate planning professionals, financial advisors, and family protection specialists who could provide warning and protection for other elderly clients who might be targeted for similar exploitation. Marcus Rodriguez, president of the Hartford Estate Planning Association, had implemented immediate professional network communication and monitoring protocols that would ensure Derek's exploitation attempts were documented and shared throughout the regional estate planning and wealth management community. Derek Whitmore's systematic manipulation and exploitation attempts represent exactly the kind of predatory behavior that our professional networks are designed to prevent and monitor, Rodriguez had explained during professional network coordination. The documented evidence will be shared throughout our membership to ensure comprehensive protection and warning for elderly clients who might be targeted for similar family exploitation. Patricia Williams, director of the Connecticut Family Financial Protection Council, had implemented immediate professional monitoring and exclusion protocols that would prevent Derek from accessing elder clients or family financial relationships throughout the regional business community. The systematic exploitation planning and manipulation attempts documented in Derek's case provide clear justification for professional exclusion and ongoing monitoring, Williams had confirmed during protection coordination meetings. Our networks will ensure that elderly individuals and family financial relationships are protected from similar predatory behavior and exploitation attempts. Quote, Derek's reaction to discovering the comprehensive consequences and estate modification revealed the complete collapse of his strategic planning and systematic manipulation campaign. His desperate attempts at damage control and family reconciliation demonstrated his recognition that his exploitation attempts had triggered permanent and irreversible consequences. Aunt Eleanor, I think there's been a serious misunderstanding about my intentions and family coordination efforts, Derek had said during frantic phone calls from family members who had been contacted about the estate modification and inheritance termination. I was only trying to help and provide appropriate family support during your health crisis. I never intended to cause problems or threaten your independence. The desperate backtracking and misrepresentation of his documented exploitation attempts revealed Derek's recognition that his systematic manipulation had been comprehensively exposed, and that his inheritance expectations had been permanently eliminated through professional legal action and family protection protocols. But Derek's attempts at damage control were systematically defeated by the comprehensive evidence documentation and professional witness testimony that provided irrefutable proof of his predatory intentions and systematic exploitation planning throughout his manipulation campaign. The documented evidence of Derek's systematic manipulation and exploitation planning provides comprehensive proof of predatory behavior and strategic family targeting, Dr. Martinez had explained during legal proceedings that confirmed the legitimacy and necessity of the protective action and inheritance modification. His current attempts at damage control and misrepresentation do not change the clear evidence of systematic exploitation planning and family manipulation. Marcus and Jennifer's reactions to discovering Derek's systematic manipulation revealed their shock and disgust at his betrayal of family trust and exploitation of my health vulnerability for personal financial advantage. Their immediate support for the protective action and estate modification provided additional family validation for the consequences Derek faced. We had no idea that Derek was planning systematic exploitation and manipulation, Marcus had explained during family meetings following the estate modification. We thought his increased attention and concern were genuine family support, but the documented evidence reveals predatory behavior that violates everything our family represents. Jennifer's response had been equally supportive of the protective action and comprehensive consequences that Derek's exploitation attempts had triggered throughout professional networks and estate planning relationships. Derek's systematic manipulation and exploitation planning represents complete betrayal of family trust and values, Jennifer had confirmed during family coordination meetings. The protective action and estate modification were not only justified, but necessary for preventing successful exploitation and protecting family integrity. The comprehensive validation from family members, professional networks, and legal authorities had provided systematic confirmation that Derek's consequences were appropriate and necessary for protecting family resources and maintaining professional standards for family relationships and estate planning integrity. 6 months following the estate modification and family access termination, Derek's attempts at legal challenge and damage recovery had been systematically defeated through comprehensive evidence presentation and professional testimony that confirmed the legitimacy and necessity of the protective action and inheritance consequences. Derek Whitmore's legal challenges lack merit and demonstrate continued disrespect for family authority and estate planning principles, Attorney Chen had explained during legal defense coordination. The documented evidence of systematic manipulation and exploitation provides comprehensive justification for all protective action and consequences that have been implemented. The comprehensive legal victory had resulted in additional consequences for Derek, including legal fee responsibility and professional monitoring requirements that would affect his business relationships and career development throughout the Hartford area's real estate and financial community. But perhaps most importantly, the systematic justice and comprehensive consequences had provided permanent protection for other elderly family members and community residents who might be targeted for similar exploitation and manipulation by predatory relatives and strategic caregivers seeking inheritance advantages. The estate modification had included establishment of the Eleanor Blackwood Family Protection Foundation, a charitable organization dedicated to providing education, prevention services, and legal assistance for elderly individuals facing family manipulation and predatory exploitation attempts. Eleanor's systematic response to family exploitation has created lasting protection and education resources that will benefit elderly individuals throughout our community, Foundation Director Patricia Romano had explained during inaugural programming coordination. The Foundation provides comprehensive services for exploitation prevention and family protection that demonstrate how professional expertise and systematic preparation can eliminate predatory behavior. The Foundation's programs included professional education workshops for estate planning attorneys and financial advisors, family protection seminars for elderly individuals and their legitimate family supporters, and legal assistance services for individuals facing systematic manipulation and exploitation attempts from predatory relatives and strategic caregivers. Derek's systematic manipulation campaign had ultimately provided the perfect case study for professional education and community protection programs that would prevent similar exploitation attempts and provide systematic warning throughout estate planning and family protection networks. Derek's comprehensive manipulation strategy and systematic exploitation planning provide valuable educational content for professional training programs, Dr. Martinez had noted during Foundation educational program development. The documented evidence and professional response demonstrate effective prevention techniques and protective strategies that can eliminate predatory behavior before successful exploitation occurs. The educational programs had been implemented throughout Connecticut's estate planning and elder protection communities, providing systematic training and prevention resources that would protect thousands of elderly individuals from family manipulation and predatory exploitation attempts. 1 year following Derek's systematic destruction and permanent exclusion from family resources, the comprehensive consequences and ongoing monitoring had eliminated any possibility of successful damage recovery or reputation rehabilitation within professional networks and family protection communities. Derek's real estate career had been permanently damaged by professional network exclusion and systematic monitoring requirements that prevented access to elderly clients and family financial relationships throughout the regional business community. His systematic manipulation and exploitation attempts had become documented case study material for professional education and exploitation prevention programs. Derek Whitmore's systematic exploitation and manipulation campaign has become permanent professional record and educational content that will provide ongoing warning and protection throughout our professional networks, Marcus Rodriguez had confirmed during annual Estate Planning Association meetings. His predatory behavior serves as comprehensive case study for prevention training and family protection education. The permanent professional consequences and ongoing community monitoring had eliminated Derek's ability to target other elderly individuals or family relationships for similar exploitation and manipulation attempts, providing lasting protection and systematic warning throughout Hartford's estate planning and wealth management community. But perhaps most satisfying was the recognition that Derek's systematic manipulation campaign had triggered exactly the kind of comprehensive professional response that demonstrated why targeting elderly family members based on assumptions about their vulnerability and legal irrelevance could be the most catastrophically expensive inheritance mistake anyone could ever make. Eleanor Blackwood had spent 40 years building exactly the kind of professional expertise and systematic legal authority necessary to eliminate family exploitation and protect estate planning resources from predatory behavior, and Derek had become the perfect demonstration of why attempting to manipulate and exploit someone whose background and capabilities had been specifically designed to handle systematic threats was the most devastating financial and professional mistake that anyone in pursuit of inheritance through manipulation could ever make. The hospital bed that was supposed to provide Derek with perfect opportunity for systematic exploitation and family control had instead become the trigger for comprehensive legal industry consequences and permanent exclusion from family resources that eliminated his inheritance expectations while providing lasting demonstration that family relationships represent more than social obligations. They represent legal frameworks and financial authority that will be protected through any means necessary against systematic manipulation and predatory exploitation. The story that began with systematic manipulation and family exploitation had ended with complete justice and permanent protection, proving that some elderly aunts don't just have money, they control the entire legal infrastructure that makes inheritance possible, and when you attempt to exploit their vulnerability while they're sick, you might discover that your entire financial future depends on someone whose professional expertise you've just destroyed forever. Derek thought he had found the perfect opportunity when I was hospitalized with pneumonia. He had no idea he had just triggered his own complete financial and professional destruction. Some battles are won not with dramatic confrontation, but with 40 years of estate planning expertise and systematic preparation for exactly this moment. The hospital bed may have made me appear vulnerable, but the law never sleeps. And neither do elderly aunts who built financial empires while predatory nephews were planning their inheritance exploitation. Have you ever witnessed such a complete reversal of fortune, where someone's systematic exploitation attempt resulted in their own comprehensive destruction? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts, because this story proves that real power often operates quietly until someone makes the catastrophic mistake of forcing it into devastating action, and that targeting elderly family members based on assumptions about their vulnerability could be the most expensive inheritance mistake you'll ever make. If you enjoyed this story of systematic justice and comprehensive consequences, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell for more stories about people who discovered the hard way that some elderly individuals possess exactly the right professional background and legal authority to destroy anyone who makes the mistake of targeting them for exploitation based on false assumptions about powerlessness and family vulnerability. Remember, real estate planning power operates through professional expertise and legal authority rather than obvious display, and the most dangerous people are often those who appear most vulnerable while possessing exactly the right background and systematic capabilities to eliminate anyone who attempts to exploit their families or manipulate their inheritance arrangements for personal advantage and predatory gain. Never underestimate someone based on age, health status, or hospital bed, because you never know when that quiet elderly relative might control millions of dollars in estate planning resources and possess 4 decades of experience protecting family wealth from people exactly like you, with the professional authority and legal expertise to ensure that your exploitation attempts result in systematic financial destruction and permanent inheritance consequences that serve as lasting warning to anyone else who might consider similar family targeting for predatory. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.